Hello, my name is Stan, and welcome to the Train Set Collector. In the last video that I put up, which was the first video for the Train Set Collector channel, we basically just went over briefly, well maybe not so briefly, the purpose of the Train Set Collector and what we were going to cover and what we were going to unbox and what we were going to see. Well, now, as promised in the last video, we're going to take a tour of the Train Set Collection. And you can see the vast majority of it behind me. Basically, this is my collection. This has been my obsession for the past 5 years, collecting these train sets. First train set I ever got was in 1979, a Tyco Silver Streak, my train set my mother got for me. And that was really the only train set I had. I mean, there were little train purchases, at Toys R Us along the way and stuff like that. But I didn't purchase another train set again until around 2001 or so, when I picked up a couple of Bachmann N-scale train sets. One of them I think was the Empire Builder, and I can't remember what the other one was. And in fact, I'm not even sure if it was a second train set. It might have just been the one, and I bought some individual stuff. Odds are that's probably the way it went down. First train set that Tyco one came from a place called Big K in Jackson, Tennessee. I don't know if anybody really remembers that store. They no longer exist. They were bought out by Walmart. Mark Twain Hobbies is where I got the N-scale train set that's in St. Louis, Missouri. And that was pretty much it for train sets for me up until about 5 years ago. And the end of 2019, well, actually, no, more like the beginning of 2020. And through my own purchases and family buying me stuff, it's grown ridiculous to over 100 train sets, probably close to 125. Some of these are quite rare, some of these are quite common, some are very old, some not so much. So that's what we're going to do here in just a second, is we're going to take a look at those. In this collection, you're going to find mostly boxed, many of them sealed, mostly HO scale with some N scale, but we're going to go over that in just a minute. While you will find one here or there that's older than 1970, most of those are going to be 1970 up. So you'll see them from the mid to late 70s and the 80s into the 90s in modern sets now. So give me just a second to step behind the camera, and we're going to take a look at what's on these shelves. And then you'll want to stick around to the end, because I've got some really special train sets that you're going to want to see, including one that's going to be the base for every train set we unbox going forward. You don't want to miss those, so definitely stick around for the end of those. So give me just a second to switch over. I'm behind the camera now. Got it on a little mini stick, or whatever you want to call it, that can actually turn into a little mini tripod. So here is the train set collection, and you can't see it, but off to either side are the very special items that we're going to go over in just a few minutes, basically at the end of the video. So I'm going to kind of save the best for last. So stick around and you'll get to check those out. The vast majority of everything on these shelves are train sets, but I do have a few other oddball items that are on there. And behind me, you'll find some banker boxes that are full of my Transformer collection and some other odd collectibles. So you can see I keep them orderly. I've got 3 shelves, or 3 bookcases, or whatever you want to call them, or bookshelves. They don't really hold books, they're more industrial. So we got 1A, 2A, and 3A. And while I didn't label them, each shelf below is B, C, D, and E at the bottom. So up here, we've got a Monopoly train set, some Athearn, and a Pimco. And then we've got a John Deere train set that doesn't have track, and a patriotic set. So if we come down, we've got a bunch of Bachmann stuff and one Lifelike. These are pretty interesting. So we got our first N-scale set over here. And then we got a Thomas set. And these are all pretty modern train sets. I think that Red Hawk is one you could get at Menards last year. They may have a different one. And these are really special to me. These are new, never been opened. I don't know if Bachmann has a specific name for them. I'd like to call them a historical series. We've got the Pegasus. We got the Lafayette, we got the John Bull, and we got the DeWitt Clinton, the DeWitt Clinton. So down here, we've got some more train sets. We've got some Bachmann. We've got a Bachmann Shrek, a Bachmann Hershey's. We got a brown box, which I'm not real sure what's in there. We got a couple Tyco scene things. And then we got a Lifelike Holiday Express, but it's actually, if you look at it, it's a gravy train set. And then we've got a Smoky Mountain Express. And that's one of the things you'll notice as we kind of go through this tour. There's a mix of vintage and new stuff, but you're going to have your more prototypical, if you will, train sets. Now, while they may not necessarily be exactly prototypical, they're your traditional locomotive with your traditional freight cars and your traditional caboose. Whereas this is a promotional set for Gravy Train. Or you'll have some of these fantasy sets, excuse me, like this Shrek Christmas set or this Hershey set. So there's going to be a lot of different things here. Coming down here, we've got an N-scale train set for Bachmann, and we've got two Tyco and a Lifelike. I can't remember exactly which ones these are. One is King Corn or Corn King, and the other one I think is Chef Boyardee. And I can't remember what that Lifelike one is. They're not very well marked. These are the sets that were promotional sets, but were sold in non-retail packaging. Down here, we've got what's probably the only real prototypical set is this Rapido Turboliner set. And I'll link to the video where I got that last year if you want to check it out and see just a little bit more on it. So down here are my two oddballs. There's an O scale Thomas, and we got this Markland HO scale. Both of these are AC 3-rail designs, but the Markland's a little bit different. I don't think it runs. Well, down here we've got some train sets that are not boxed. These I probably won't get to anytime soon because I'm on the lookout for boxed versions of these. I really like to collect them in the box because if you'll remember from the introduction video, I'm really looking for this to be like a digital historical archive of these different sets. So here we've got some more sets, obviously. The ones in the non-marked boxes, those are Model Power. And then we've got a Tyco JCPenney set. This one's actually from the 60s. This is probably my oldest set. Moving up here, we've got, I believe these two, the Honda and the Texaco, those are Model Power. And we've got a couple of Bachmann. And then that Ray Bestos set is, I believe, Walthers. This one here was a Menards exclusive. That you can see the Menards exclusive car that comes with the set. Up here we've got some Tyco sets, and this is another Bachmann Hershey set. This is just a locomotive up here. I'll get where you can see it. Like I said, Bachmann set here. And I'm not sure what's in that top brown box, but that over there is a Scotty's AHM promotional set. Now we've got a Corky's train set. This is by IHC, and it's the train only. I don't think there's any track in there. And then we've got a Bachmann Shooting Star set, but that I can't see the top of it, so I can't tell you what it was, but it's not what you see on the side. It's more of a promotional set. And then we got the Bachmann Kellogg's train set, and then we've got some really nice Lifelike sets. I really love this Armed Forces one. So over here, we've got our only 00 scale set by Hornby. And then we've got a bunch of Lifelike sets here. Really nice. These are mostly going to be promotional sets. Many of these you'll see like ShopRite. In fact, most of these say ShopRite. These were sold in the ShopRite stores. I'm not sure if that's a grocery store. I've never been in one. Then we got a Bachmann Missile Force train set. And we're going to skip past the next shelf. And we're going to go to the bottom. Well, actually, we'll come off to the side here. We've got a Bachmann Silver Streak train set. And I got that one. One, it just looks good. It's got two locomotives. One of them is a dummy. But my first train set was the Tyco Silver Streak, so I just had to get this one. And then behind here, we've got the Bachmann Chattanooga. Again, I got it because I have the Tyco Chattanooga. And down here, we've got an interesting bird. This is a Bachmann Silver Series train set. That'll be interesting to go over. So down here, we have some IHC and Mahano train sets, which are really the same company. Most of these are going to be promotional sets from like a grocery store, like you'll see that Hy-Vee there off to your left, or ShopRite. But there are a Toy Story and a Toy Story 2 train set there as well. And we'll go over those in the future. So coming up here, we've got some Tyco stuff and some older Bachmann. These are also going to be promotional sets, and they're based on the freight car that's in there. I don't think that Tyco is. And then we have a couple of promotional Athearn sets. One is going to be GM parts, and the other one is going to be Napa. So you know those are going to run like a champ. And then there's that Coca-Cola that's also Athearn. And then we've got a nice Mantua Christmas set. It'll be a while before we get to that because any train set I've unboxed over on Vintage Road and Rail, they're going to automatically get bumped to the back of the list. So up here, we have got a couple of Tyco sets here. We've got I believe this is a Model Power Coca-Cola Express. Then we got this Model Power I think that's Durango and Rio Grande train set. Then we got this guy here. It's not a train set at all. It turns into a robot. I collect Transformers, as you know, and so I couldn't pass it up. And then we've got a couple of more promotional grocery store sets here. We got this Mini Chef's Express. That's from President's Choice. I believe that's up in Canada. And I'm not sure who Big Y is. I'm sure that's some sort of a store. And we've got their Freedom Express. So that's a look at most of the sets. Now, the real special ones are coming up. So we're going to kind of work our way through those and end with the one that is still special. That's going to be the basis of everything. So we're going to bring the camera up and do all this. So we've got two Bachmann sets here. This first one is a Rail King set. And while it's not exactly rare, you can find them. This one's been used, and you can find them new on eBay. This is the train set that was featured in an episode, I think maybe even 2 episodes, but it was unboxed for all intents and purposes on an episode of The Big Bang Theory. And when we get to that train set, we'll kind of go over that. And then we've got the Bachmann Special Forces. And I can't remember the name of the train set that they still have that's very similar to this. I think it's called Desert Strike. I'll put it down, some text down at the bottom if that's what it is. And the difference between it is it doesn't come with the box car. I think it comes with the same little light car and the missile car, and it's in desert colors. So it's definitely a little bit different. So next we've got 3 unopened train sets. We've got a Firefox 1 by AHM. We got a Firefox 2, also by AHM. You can find these in the box, and you can potentially find them still sealed, but it's getting harder and harder to find them that way, especially sealed. But the one here in the middle, this one is the one that I've only seen one of these pop up on eBay that is still sealed, and that's the Daredevil Thrill Show, All-American Traveling Daredevil Thrill Show. Comes with this base and the train, and is very similar to almost Hot Wheels in what's included. And it's kind of their own take, I think, of Evel Knievel. I may be wrong, I may be over-exaggerating, but this may be the only sealed version of this set still in existence. May not be there. I'm sure there's probably one out there somewhere, but it's only one I've seen in 5 years. So that one is very rare. You can find it on eBay, but it's not even in the box usually, and it's oftentimes very incomplete. But you can find parts and pieces, And if you're patient, you can put this train set together piece by piece by buying stuff on eBay. My oldest daughter bought me this for Christmas a couple or 3 years ago. So now we're going to swing over to a table that's behind me and to my left. And we're going to give you a shot of the floor here in a second. You're going to see all the junk that's under it. So we're actually going to come over here. Oh, a couple I missed. We've got a Model Power Smokin' Joe, and we've got a Bachmann Overland Limited. Both of those, they're too big to put on the shelf, so they're kind of stacked in the corner. So now we're going to come to some Tyco gold, if you will. So first we have an unopened, still sealed G.I. Joe train set. Now these aren't totally rare. You can find these on eBay still in the box and even sealed. So that is not completely rare. Over here, we've got an in-the-box A-Team train set. Again, and you can see that the shrink wrap is hanging on for dear life. I've even put some Scotch tape to try to hold it on there. And I just expect it one day to fall off. But this has never been opened. You can find this set still in the box and unopened, but it's getting harder and harder to find, and they can go for some good money. So here in the middle, we've got a Transformers train set, and I figure this is probably the most common of the Tyco TV series style train sets. This one is not sealed. The seller I bought it from says it's unused, but I'm not sure about that. But it is definitely not sealed. I kicked around if I wanted to try to get a sealed set or not, but I'm not going to bother. The next two sets we're going to look at, it's hard to say which one is the most rare. I believe it'll be the second one we look at. But here we've got a mask train set. This one is still sealed. It's never been opened. And I have seen them pop up from time to time still sealed. They go for ridiculous money. And, but they are still out there. But if you're a Tyco collector, you know what's coming next, because you know they only made 5 of these sets. And this one, I've only seen one in the box, let alone completely sealed. And that is this Rambo train set. Very similar to the G.I. Joe train set. Now you'll look and you'll see this flap is loose. The glue is kind of broke loose on it, but it has never been opened. There is no way, if you lift that flap up, there is no way to get to the contents of that box. So it's all untouched for 35 years. So this is kind of the crown jewel of my collection. That and that Daredevil set we looked at. But I've got one set behind me that I was surprised to see how difficult it was to find. I really was shocked. So before we look at it, you remember we took a look at this Tyco scene here. Years ago, I wanted to build a Tyco scene layout and never did get around to it. And then to my knowledge, I've only seen one other person do anything serious with Tyco scene. I can't remember. His name is Charlie. I can't remember his channel name, but I'll put it down in the description. I think it's Charlie's Train Depot, if I'm not mistaken. He has built out a Tyco scene layout and even one with the expander board. And that's something I had wanted to do years ago and just never did get around to it. And the fact that he did it is what kind of sent me to his channel. Well, back in, I want to say 83. It could be 82. I think it's 1982. That's when Tyco released their Tyco scene layout board. And this is basically a way to build a layout without having to get into woodwork and all that stuff. And you can put your trains on there and they're not running on the carpet, and you can put buildings and their action features and all that stuff on there. That's basically what that was for. Well, when they released that, they released 4 train sets, if I'm not mistaken. 2 that had just the standard Tyco layout scene, and then 2 that had the expander also, which made it significantly bigger. I was shocked to see how hard it was to find those train sets in the box. Forget new, just in the box. Well, that brings me to this. This is a recent find. I found this within the last 6 months. Tyco King Cole. This will be the first train set we unbox, and it comes with this 3.5 by 4.5 Tyco seam board. And that's going to be the extent of our layout building on this channel. When we unbox this, it's going to be a three or four part video. The first one, we're going to unbox it, and then as we progress through, we're going to actually build out a table. This table might be the base for it that we're just going to set on it, and we're going to glue this down to it. And then I've got Atlas nickel silver track. I don't want to use this old steel or brass track. I've got modern track to put on there. And as we review accessories for this, which would be designed for this layout, this train set, we'll build this out over time. And then maybe in the future, we will use the expander. But I'll probably need more space than what I've got now. All right, so that is a look at the train set collection. Next video is going to be a Father's Day haul, and frankly, you've already seen them as we went through. When we go through that Father's Day haul, you'll be, oh yeah, I saw that. And after the Father's Day haul video is posted, I'm going to do 3 videos on setting up track, Bachmann Easy Track, Lifelike Walther's Power Lock, and then finally your standard Atlas style snap track, like what you see here. We're going to do those videos so I just don't have to do that every time I unbox a train set. I can just point people to that if they want to see how that's done. All right, train set collectors, that wraps this video up. So we're going to now move on to the next video and get that posted soon. But if you enjoyed taking a look at this train set collection and are looking forward to, one, seeing this unboxed and built out, and then just seeing all of these different train sets over time being unboxed, looked at in detail, and run, then make sure and hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when a new train set unboxing or accessory unboxing is up. All right, until next video, happy model railroading, guys. Take care.